So it's a beautiful day. We got the truck back here looking beautiful as ever. Let's put some heat in the engine and get a cold start for you. So you guys can clearly hear she sounds absolutely amazing with the newer used motor that's in her, and she runs really good. Now that I have the motor fixed, we were able to go in and actually repair the exhaust, and what we did was we had them install an X pipe and re-weld everything back together, put the hangers back on, so now my exhaust from front to back is all the way it's supposed to be. So it's a more subtle approach, but it has a better tone, which really the exhaust was, it sounded great before we got all of this stuff fixed and before we added an X pipe to it. But for me, it was a little bit obnoxious. It was a little loud, and at times it could get annoying. I've had my neighbor tell me multiple times, I hear you every morning when you get ready to go to work, so he kind of knows my schedule. Considering the fact that I have to go to work Saturday night into Sunday morning, so at 12:30 a.m. Sunday, I'm jumping in my truck and I'm starting it up right out here next to what would be somebody's bedroom. It can become annoying, and the last thing I want is my neighbors hating my truck and basically spreading bad. Very interesting thing just took place. I bought a new mount to go onto my windshield here, and it just completely gave up and dropped my $600 camera onto my dash, and it tumbled into my console. So I guess we won't be doing that again. This just became a GoPro mount only. So I don't exactly remember what the name of it is. It's a very nice little suction cup thing. It does seem to hold well when you're just kind of mounting it on something and tugging on it to see if it will fall, but it didn't handle the Canon, and my Canon cannot get broke. Finish what I was saying. It's just a nuisance when you deal with all of the noise that this truck was giving off, and the last thing I want is my neighbors upset at me. So we're gonna do something that's gonna be very fun, and it's gonna be entertaining for me because I've never done this mod, and it's gonna be the intake. So we have a cold air intake that we're gonna be installing. You guys won't see any of that as far as like how to and all of that stuff, because honestly, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm not gonna sit here and try to go through the whole thing. It's an air intake. So one thing we're going to discuss is the name brand in which we chose to go with. I did open this box, but it came from AF Dynamic, and they made a really good kit. It wasn't very expensive, so it's going to be a lot of fun installing this. It's going to be a little complicated, but we're going to see what we can do. There is one bad thing about this, and I will explain it, and some of you guys are going to give me a lot of hell about it. The only bad thing about this thing that I don't like, the pipe is red. It doesn't go with anything I have on the truck, and I'm not a big fan of red. So maybe later on we will change the color to black, or maybe something a little bit different, but red, not very good for me. This kit also has a lot of different things that has to be installed. Metal guys, making a lot of noise here. It comes with a lot of sheeting that you have to put together and assemble under the hood, but we're gonna get into that, and I'm gonna show you underneath the hood. So all of this juicy goodness is going to have to come out from the intake pipe into the manifold all the way down to the air box. And it's going to be a lot of fun, but we're going to get started, and we'll see what we come up with when it's all completed. And just like that, we are done with the intake. Hope you guys like the way it looks. It all came out really nice. We did have to shorten out our pipe going down there. I was hoping to not have to change any of that, but it comes in, secures right underneath the bottom of the pipe here now, whereas it used to go straight into the back side of the box. This piece was in the kit, but no picture in the instructions showed this aluminum flap. But I went ahead and I put it on, and I hope I installed it correctly, because like I said, there was no instructions on how to put this on. There is a heat shield underneath it, so it keeps this from getting warm and interfering with the air going into the filter. Now, I'll go through a few things that I don't like about this particular brand. Is that if you can look, you can see there's a lot of gap down here at the base of the box that I built. I'm not really happy about that, but for the most part, I think it's going to serve its purpose just fine. The air comes in through this opening here, which will circulate around in this area and get the filter plenty of air. And I really like the sound of it, so you're going to get this nice swooshing sound. Another thing that I've noticed once I got the truck back, which is off topic of the air intake, is that now my hydraulics are not working. So I've got to purchase new hydraulics for the hood, but maybe that'll be when we get a new hood, because we do have to get a new hood, and I'll show you why. Unfortunately, over time you get rock chips that'll pop up every now and then, little things that are imperfections, but that's to be expected with a front end that's as big as this. I mean, let's be real, that's a pretty huge front end, so she takes a lot of abuse from the front. But also, if you take a look, let me see if I can get the angle right, adjust my mount here, you can see we got a little dent here. This is hail damage, and I've got several. See, there's a little bit of a dent here, you know, so they're everywhere when you think of all of the work that I've done on the truck, and then you look at what one weather storm can do to the front end of your vehicle. You can see like 3 of them right there. It's terrible. So very frustrating. Not really happy about that, but we can replace this. It's only about a $700 hood. I do want a different style grill. I'm not really fond of the cross slats in there. I think I want to go to the honeycomb mesh style. So the things that I hate about this vehicle, it's quite simple. Everything on the suspension, being heavy duty, is literally 4 times more difficult to work on, because everything is stronger, everything is tightened down a little bit more. This long bed, it's great because it looks huge on the road, and it actually looks like a really good work truck. But the issue is that before I got it, somebody would lean up against the side of the truck to put in fuel, and left me a nice set of dents there that I can't seem to get out. Every now and then you're driving down the road, you might hit a pothole or a bump or something, and that piece will flex out and come back to where it needs to be, but it's still not perfect. So as soon as you go to stop and you pull open your fuel door, if you bump into it at all, just a small bump, that dent pops right back in. You don't even have to lean up against it anymore. I didn't plan on getting a heavy duty truck when I first started looking for a Dodge Ram. I wanted a 1500. I wasn't really in the market for anything this big, especially not a long bed. I wanted a short bed, but with what I had to put down, this is really all I could afford, and I was able to get what I wanted as far as interior wise. I fell in love with this specific design. The truck was amazing with the Hemi, and I wanted a crew cab, so I was able to locate a dealership that had this one, and it just fit in my budget. The other ones that they had that were 1500 with the Hemi were only a quad cab, and I didn't really want the shorter rear door. I wanted a full cab so that I could fit 4 adults comfortably without having any issues with the rubbing of the knees. So this truck really kind of gave me what I wanted. It didn't have the console. As you guys know, we did the console mod. That was one of my biggest things that I did not like about this vehicle. Of course, no sunroof. Anytime you go to a used car lot, you're not going to have the amenities that you really want to find in a truck. But one of the things that I absolutely loved and I was really shopping for is a sliding glass rear window, which I still to this day absolutely love. Even if I crack it a little bit to get a little bit of wind going through, I can roll my windows down and I don't get that reverberation in the inside of the cab. So that rear glass sliding open really helps perform a good, nice flow of air through the cab. I don't like that this is not the split seat where you can just put down the 30 and leave up the other. I really kind of wanted that, but this is the full bench, which is the SLT model rear seat. Overall, I've gotten over it. That's not a big deal. I can see in the camera there's a spot right there that needs to be cleaned. Or maybe it's glare, I don't know. But yeah, I can't see it in real life because it's a little bit darker than what you guys can see. But overall, everything on this truck was good. I didn't have floor mats. I didn't have the console. And I didn't have the dice. The dice is aftermarket, as you can see. That's not OEM. Yeah, so this was already here. It does not have a light in here, but I believe if I wanted to, I could install a light. So that's a good thing to think about. Maybe something that we do here in the future coming up. I'm really excited about some of the things that this vehicle does not have that I can actually add. So much like the center console, much like an updated fascia, things from different models you can actually adapt into this one. I don't have as many controls on the steering wheel as I'd like. Perhaps that's something that we could work on. You know, there's just certain little things that can be done to, I guess you could say, accentuate this truck and make it a little bit more of a higher spec than what it was originally, which it was just spec'd out to be a work truck. Nobody really wanted this truck to be a over-the-road kind of truck that could be a daily. This was supposed to be a daily work truck that was supposed to get from A to B with a trailer in the middle, and that's what it did for a very long time throughout different areas of the United States until I purchased the vehicle. When I purchased the vehicle, the tow hooks were gone. There was nothing in the middle here, so you could see straight through and actually pinpoint out the oil filter that was in the old motor. Like I said, we've added the hooks, we added the 2 light bars, we've added the headlights, we've added the tow mirrors, we've added these vent visors, which I really like. They're in channel, so that's a good thing. Wheels, tires, the rear is a, if I'm not mistaken, a 2-inch spacer. And then in the front, we have lift spindles. The lift spindles gives you exactly what you need on height, as well as it keeps your spring fully intact, so you get the full range of the spring. If you add spacers into the spring, what you end up getting is you get a compressed spring, and once you compress your spring, you don't get the smooth bounce of the vehicle that you need to be able to perform well under pressure. So once we took the spacer out, because I did go that route, we got the lifted spindles. We went ahead and we redid the upper and lower ball joints, put it all back together, and the truck rides smooth as ever. So absolutely love that. I do need new shocks. We did replace the shocks, but the shocks are still not what I want. We do have aftermarket taillights, as well as the easy lift, or I should say the DZ support arm there. So spare tire that'll never be used. And I've got to replace my sensors because those were not working on the vehicle when I got it. But that'll be, of course, once we redo the rear bumper. This bumper has only taken one extra bit of damage after I got it. The trailer that they were pulling, I guess, dented this side and then put a good sized dent down in here. But I backed into a pole because this truck is just, it's exceptionally long. So backing into QT is not as easy as you'd like. The paint chips are starting to show up. This is just 10-year-old paint. You can't expect for 10-year-old paint to last forever on every vehicle, especially as many miles as this vehicle had on it. So for the most part, you're getting a rough estimate as to what I've done and where we're going with the truck. We still have a ton of things that we can do to it, and we will be doing to it. So as long as you guys are willing to stick around, we will be doing more mods to this truck, and we're gonna be looking forward to the next adventure of what we're gonna work on after we get this truck completed. So stay tuned, because I think you're going to enjoy. Also, don't forget about my Recon antenna here with the Loctite. So if you guys try to steal my antenna, you won't have as good of a luck as you think